What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And if you don't know who I am, I run a Canadian lifestyle brand called K-Bud that's doing multiple six figures a year in sales. And this YouTube channel does multiple six figures a year. And in this video here, I want to share with you a personal story of the exact moment that I realized I would never work for somebody else ever again. And this story is of a moment where I was with my friends and I felt this extreme level of disparity between the struggles, the experiences that my friends were having, working their normal jobs, talking about their lives, talking about what they were going through, versus what I was experiencing as an entrepreneur and the things that I was going through and experiencing. And all of this happened in one big moment for me that I want to share with you in this video. And what I'm hoping that this does for you is it really opens your eyes to the true possibilities of entrepreneurship and what you can accomplish without the help of anybody else, just by putting your mind to it and going for it. And so I really think you're going to enjoy it. Here it is. Just before we get into this story, Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd. And if designs are something that you aren't that good at, I really recommend that you try them out. You post a project on Design Crowd, amazing designers from all around the world are going to compete for your project. You choose the winner, then you get that design plus revisions. I've literally sold thousands of these designs on my website, and I got them all made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you, or just use the discount code apparel when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, so the story that I want to share with you takes place about 2 years ago. I live in Kelowna, British Columbia, and I live about 40 minutes away from a giant ski hill here called Big White. And every once in a while in the wintertime, I get a group of my friends together, and we all do a day trip up at this ski hill. And the story takes place 2 years ago at this ski hill. We all had an amazing morning, snowboarding, skiing, just laughing, goofing around. And about halfway through the day, we're going up a ski lift. And if you've never been on a ski lift before, ski lifts take about 10 to 15 minutes at this hill to go from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill. And on this lift, everybody just kind of jokes around, talks about what they're going through, whatever. And I'm sitting on the far right side of this ski lift. I've got maybe 4 or 5 friends on this lift as well, and one's on the far left. And she starts talking on this lift about how she's working 3 different jobs and how her bosses are treating her at all of these jobs, how she can't stand any of them, how she's barely making enough to pay rent while working 3 different jobs, and her hourly wage is extremely low, how she has to go to work right after this and then work the next 7 days straight, basically all day long. While she's talking about this, what I'm realizing is that morning, while I had been snowboarding all morning with my friends, I realized I had a particularly good morning for my clothing brand. I had about 20 orders come in for my clothing brand, which is a couple $1,000s in sales. I'd also sold 2 courses on this YouTube channel where I teach other clothing brands how to market their clothing brand online, which is a few $100s. And I'd also gotten paid by my sponsor that morning, which is a pretty good chunk of money for just my efforts on this YouTube channel. And I realized that in this whole morning, without lifting a finger, I had made a few $1,000s. Meanwhile, my friend over here is working 3 jobs, can barely afford to pay rent, and that's maybe just over $1,000 or something like that. And she's struggling, putting in all this effort. And I had this epiphany in this moment that the conventional way of living isn't always right. The way that most people live their lives isn't always right. And I sort of contrasted this with the day that I left my job. I used to work as a video editor at TSN, and I was making maybe just under $40,000 a year as a video editor. I'd work 40 hours a week, slaving away. And it was this huge deal, not only for me, but for my family when I left this job. It was like, what are you doing? You have this nice, cushy, comfortable job. Why would you leave it to do this e-commerce stuff, this online business stuff? What are you doing? And I remember just being so freaked out about it. And it was in that moment on that ski lift that I realized I made the right decision to become an entrepreneur. That there's no ceiling when you're an entrepreneur. It's basically you're only limited by your own work ethic and your own ability to be creative when it comes to what you're creating and what you're putting into the world, and your own ability to get results, rather than trying to, get a raise at work or, satisfy somebody else's dream. What I believe is that a lot of people haven't really escaped the matrix yet of this conventional way of living, the way things are supposed to be based on these social constructs, things that put in place for us that are sort of these rules, like these unwritten rules that you have to follow, where if you step outside of these rules, you're going to start getting all sorts of judgment from your family and friends. It's going to look super weird to a lot of people. And the message of this video is that a lot of the times when you step outside of that and you start getting this judgment from people and this hate from people and like, what are you doing vibes, it's actually a sign that you're on the right path. It was after that moment on the ski lift that I started to believe that it's not that people don't desire more for their lives. They just simply don't know any differently. Like my friends in this situation just don't have any clue that there's this other life waiting for them if they just started behaving differently, if they actually started to learn about the things that I'm teaching you on this channel and the things that other channels and podcasts are teaching you when it comes to business. Like there's a huge group of people that just have absolutely no idea that this world exists and that this stuff is actually real. I want you to realize that I'm not trying to force any values on you. Obviously, you can live your life the way that you want to live. And I'm not saying that my way of living is any better than yours. But when I look left and right in my own life and I see the financial struggles that people are having, the amount of time that they're just wasting away working a job that they absolutely can't stand without putting any of their other time into building a different life or setting up a different situation, it really makes me feel like, God, I wish they knew. Like, I wish they knew just so that they had the option to decide if this is something that they wanted to do or not. Because I think that so many people just simply haven't had their brains cracked open yet. Like their minds cracked open yet to this stuff. They haven't seen any inspiration that it's possible. And when I think back on that day and just my life up until this point over the past 5 years, all of the time that I've been spending doing work has been on my own business. It hasn't been for anybody else. It's been purely to serve the world, the gifts that I have to offer. And that just feels so much better than going to work for somebody. So for my own life here, when it comes down to it, I'm never going to work for somebody else ever again. And if I get to a place in my life ever where I have to, for sure that the whole time while I'm working that job, I'm going to be trying to get my way out and build something else on the side that just gets me out of that situation. I think that just most people don't even realize that they're slaves in that way. And I hope that what this video did was it just opened your eyes to sort of these different paradigms that you can be living in and the different ways that you can be living in. And it inspires you to stick on your journey as an entrepreneur and to realize the true benefits of what this life has to offer. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button for me and let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace. My clothing brand marketing program is 50% off until the end of the year, and this is the last sale that I'm ever going to have. I break down real conversations I've had with celebrities and influencers to land endorsements for my own brand. I show you how to grow a real following on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube from scratch. And I show you how to set up, structure, and scale up Facebook ads and TikTok ads for your clothing brand. If you're interested, you can learn more about what's inside at clothingbrandmarketing.com, and I hope to see you inside.